Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Cracking the Cryptic. It's a new day for me and finally I have logged into Cracking the Cryptic without a new pop-up either announcing something or correcting something. So I guess they got their holiday pack Valentine's Day puzzle, which there's two puzzles here, so if one of them's Valentine's Day related, the other might be also Valentine's Day related. It would be nice if you could actually see what was in any of these instead of just seeing general numbers. And I guess I just recognized that we also have sample domino puzzles, so I guess we'll finish with that. But we've done all of the 500,000 subscriber celebration. Incredibly difficult puzzles. We finished Miser in 234 minutes with a lot of help. There is a renewed hope with a new day that we will just be able to finish this sample puzzle pack without really having to lean into hints. It'd be nice if we didn't have to use any hints going forward, and that we've potentially gotten, or I personally have gotten better at Sudoku. I don't really think I have, from being drugged through the fire from that 500,000 subscriber special. But yeah, let's do puzzle number 5. So it'd be a 5-star. All of these puzzles in this pack are from Prasanna Seshadri. So we'll just jump in here. The rules are classic Sudoku. There must be the digits 1 through 9 in every row, every column, and every box. Only once. And then we have the killer variant. The cells in a cage must add up to the number in the top left, and numbers cannot be repeated. So even though these two digits wouldn't be in the same box, the numbers couldn't be repeated. Although technically in that example, the numbers couldn't have been repeated anyways. Numbers could have been repeated potentially here if there wasn't a killer box. So this is probably going to heavily rely on what they refer to as the secret, in that the total sum of the digits inside a 3x3 grid equals 5. 45, not 5, if it were only that easy. So, in every puzzle, there are boxes, killer boxes like this. If the killer box is inside a regular box, then you have an alternate number of possibilities outside of it. In this case, since we know that this is going to either be 4, 7, 8, 9 or 5, 6, 8, 9, then we know that 1, 2, and 3 at the very least are going to be in this section here. And we see a number 2 setting us up, which is nicer than any of the 500 special puzzles, which I think maybe there was one puzzle amongst the 500,000 subscriber collection that started you off with one digit. And one digit, even here, is probably just being given very begrudgingly as a way of making sure the puzzle can be solved, and solved in only one way. Almost certainly there is no mathematical system where you could make a Sudoku puzzle that could be solved only one way. But it does kind of seem like you can only solve even simple classic Sudoku puzzles in one way, which seems weird, but that would be the case. And this interface is terrible, as far as this isn't the box. This is the box here. I think this is the box here. And this isn't a killer box. Nope, this is here. And then this is here. So there's our in. What is the outie? The one number that's not in this combination. Seems like it could be anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's even a possibility of a 9. And then what would be the left out number here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So of all the possible combinations, there is something about this spot in this column. It would mean something, but it may very well just be a case that we find this number, and then that tells us how to find this box. In this box, and I have to point out that it does. I watched another video on the Cracking the Cryptic YouTube page, and they do just have a lot of these combinations memorized, and yeah, that's not really helpful for a new player to just see somebody spout off entire combinations of digits, particularly if they're just moving incredibly fast and not really explaining themselves. Let's see. 4, 7, 8, 9, 5, 6, 8. It's not what I meant to do. I meant to switch. There we go. So we're showing the elevated possibilities, the 5, 6, 8, 9 as the other possibility, which I'm noticing that these two are the same, although that may not really mean anything. Is there any possibility here where the number 9 would be up in this spot? Yes. That would be the only thing that would help us, is if we could find out for sure that the number 9 can't be here. Then we would know the number 9 would have to be in this box, which would potentially eliminate the digit 9 from this box, but maybe not. It seems very possible, but this killer box doesn't have to have a 9 in it. This is 1, 2, 3, 5, and it has only one possibility, which then could have us eliminate some possibilities here if two digits match. So 1, 2 can be out, 1, 3 can be out, 1, 5 can be out, 3, 5 can be out, 2, 5 can be out, 3, 5 can be out. Which I believe this 2, 3 is also out then. So 1, 2, 3, 5 leaves you with either the possibility of this or this, which guarantees a 6. Okay. So then we go in here and we eliminate anything with a 6 in it. And I don't think it does anything else. Of the possible combinations here, I guess we could ask some questions though. We see that a 5, what are we seeing that's not here? The number 9 has to be here. And if we could figure out something else. This combination here would mean that the 2 would have to be here, or the 1 would have to be here, which would mean 4, 6, and 8 are here. Four, 6, 7, and 8. Yeah, they go there. And then a 1-2 pair of possibilities go there. That would mean in this box we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, 7, 8, and 9. So, of the possibilities here, I think it's probably 7, 8, and 9. There are the possibilities there. Yeah. And if anything, that probably means something else is out too. And that 7, 8, 9. Well, it actually doesn't mean anything there, does it? So we've done a decent job filling in that first box. If we could eliminate 8 as a possibility, then we would know this has a 9 in it. There's just a lot of possibilities here. But I am noticing that the number 1 must be here, because none of these combinations have a 1 in it. And that's pretty much all we can take from that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are all digits capable of being in those combinations. Let's look at this 20. Basically everything is in here, but wait a minute, this piece here is all in the box, so we can eliminate anything with 2 in it. So that brings the possibilities down quite a bit. Not everywhere. There's just a danger that a 2 would be here and a 2 would be here though. And then if this is 1, 2, 3, 7, or 1, 2, 4, 6, or 1, 3, 4, that means 8 and 9 can't be in this box. Which, I don't know if it really benefits you to just mark that like that instead of simply just marking all the possibilities here. It seems like to me it's just more practical to mark every possibility because of the way the program itself works. we'll just mark every possibility here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Of the 2 possibilities up here, 4, 6 are guaranteed. And then we can unmark that as being a 6. That then lets us eliminate this one and this one as a possibility. Still seems like there's a lot of room for other possibilities though. And it just doesn't seem like you could really eliminate anything in this killer box. Okay. If the combination here is 4, 7, 8, 9 or 5, 6, 8, 9, that is just then the possibility of every, well, first of all, 1, 2, and 3 have to be in this group, and then that would mean 2 more digits possible, which would be either 4, 7 or 5, 6. And it's not really a great way to mark that, so I'm not going to try 4, 7, 5, 6. We can take this out and remove the possibilities of 2s. And then could we figure out anything as far as this box or group? I don't think so. We'll need to just do the math, I imagine. So we have a 25. We're looking for 5 digits. That's how many are highlighted here, equaling to 20, which would be 45 minus 25. And we'll see. It looks like every single possibility is acceptable up to and including 9. So might as well fill it in just for thoroughness sake, but that didn't help any. And the same was probably going to be true here. Yeah. Without any more information, this would just fill in the entire box with everything being a possibility. Just go ahead and fill in all the possibilities here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So nothing new can be derived from that. And while I can put a 1 in these spots, I don't know if I can really do anything else, because there's just no guarantees. Every single possibility, I believe, is available here. Which, without any information, then these two, I think, just default to everything. So, am I wasting time here, or is there method to this madness? to me, it seems like every single one of these remaining spots can just be almost any number. Except for we can come over here and take out the 2s. And then this killer box, doesn't have a 2 in it. So the possibilities are 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Just 2s being removed. Guess that also means 2s need to be removed from this spot. While we're at it, 2s need to be removed from this spot. If we could prove a 2 is not here, then we would know the 2s have to be here or here, and then the 2 would have to be here, here, or here. Still don't think that there's anything that could be eliminated on those. So I have like every box filled in, and I'd hoped we could solve these puzzles without using a hint, and it doesn't seem like that is going to actually be the case. We'll try doing just basic Sudoku, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna work. Pretty obviously, if that needs the 2 removed, if this combination here includes a 2, then we know the 2 is here. Which, yeah, if it includes a 2, then that would eliminate 2s from being here and here and here, but only if this includes a 2, and it would mean 2 is more than likely here. Suppose you could look at a scenario here where if this was 2, then this couldn't be 2, which doesn't really matter. If this was 1, then all the possible combinations here with 1 would be eliminated, and then we would know it's 2, 3, 5. Which then would lean on something being here. Couldn't be 1. Couldn't be 4. Maybe 2. No, but if this is 2, 3, 5, it wouldn't be that. It'd be either 6 or 8 in that scenario, if that scenario is correct. So let's just see what Smart Hint says. There's a killer any column 3. This is what I was trying to keep my eye on, and obviously I'm just not capable of really seeing it. Column 3 has an any at row 5, column 3. We're right there, which must be 9. And I don't know why they're calling that an innie instead of an outie, because it's outside a killer box. It's in between 2 killer boxes. Okay. So let's question this. Of the remaining possibilities here, there isn't a 9. Of the remaining possibilities here, there is a 9. 1, 2, 5, 9. 2 and 9 here seems still very doable. So I don't get it. There seems to be just a logical leap it's taking in the smart hint to say that some kind of overlap here. 1358. I think 1358 is not overlapping at all. 1457. No overlap there. If there was just some other way I could prove that 1 or 1259 was out, then it would make sense. So we know this is either 1 or 2. Ah, okay. So then this 1259 is out, and then that means this means they're all out. There isn't a single thing here that has, well, maybe it just means this is out because it's both a 1 and a 2, and we know at least a 1 or a 2 is here. Yeah, that must be it. Then that gets us to the 9. So I missed that, but then I don't think that probably helps us any further. It does tell me that the 9 is in these boxes. So if I was to calculate a 6-digit combination, I would need to know what the other numbers are, wouldn't I? And the possibilities here still seem kind of endless. Could be 3 here, could be 4 here, could be 5 here, could be 6 here, could be 7 here, and could be 8 here. No possibilities being really eliminated. Somewhere a 9. If a 9 has to be played either here or here, then we know that the 9 has to be in one of these 3 boxes. For this box, one of these 3 cells in this box, which the combination on this doesn't include a 9, which means these 2 can't be 9, which means that's a 9. And so as we continue to eliminate possibilities, I guess we might figure something out. 9 has to be in this box somewhere. So it's either above or below this line. This one has to have 9 in it. So we know that these 2 must be 9. One of those 2 must be 9. Which then pushes us to saying one of those 2 has to be 9. Which I guess we'll just highlight that. So that then tells me that the 9 is in this box, and that means this combination, this combination, this combination, and this combination are all gone, making this have to be just 5, 6, 7, and 8. Which then means we can select all of these and remove 5s, and then remove 6s, and then remove 7s, and then remove 8s, Also means that this is not really a 9. And the combination now is got to be 4, 7, 8, 9, I believe. Because there's just not enough. It's not a way here to have 2 of these 4 digits be up here. 5, 6, 8 are all being eliminated. So this is now 4, 7, 8, 9 with these. Not one of those 2 having 9 is a certainty. Okay. And I guess if 8 has to be in here, then 8 has to be down here. Isn't that the case? Yeah. And then 4 and 7 could be up here. But wait, 7 can't be up here. So down here has to be 7 also. Then that just makes this a 1-2 pair of 7 and 8s. Then we can just go ahead and flip that around and say that's a 1-2 pair of 4s and 9s. Which then can flip this around to say that's a triplicate of 1, 2, 3s. And that means nothing quite yet, other than we can eliminate 4s. And we can eliminate 9s. Okay. I don't really want to leave that colored in. Possible combinations here. If we could guarantee that the 9 was eliminated, all the 9 possibilities would leave this to be 4, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8 and 4, 6, 7, 8 are fairly close, though. So the question I would have to ask here, is there a way that 5 would be down here, which wouldn't interfere with the 4, 6, 7, 8 in any combination at all, and then only one digit, whatever it would be, 6, 7, and 8, could be the other digit here, which would only eliminate that, the possibilities there of 4, 6, 7, 8. So as long as a 4 was up here and the 6, let's say down here, does seem still very possible. That, yeah, it doesn't seem like that's eliminating anything. I can see my resolve is already starting to drain somewhat today. I am very much at the end of a long journey with this series, and I am very much not in a position to really continue the journey much longer. If these two have to be 4, which they do, that means this can't have a 4 in it, which would eliminate one more possibility. So we're down to 1, 3, 5, 8, or 2, 3, 5, 7. So let's just go ahead and elevate one possibility, 1, 3, 5, 8. Should have done that in all of them. And then have only 2, 3, 7. Or 2, 3, 5, 8. Okay. So that's a more manageable grouping. You probably know that a 4 has to be. Nope. This could be 1, this could be 2, this could be 3. This is 4, or this is 4. This could have a 5. So 7, 8. And this is 9. So we know there's no 9 here, which means there will be a 9 either here or here. We could take out, I guess, the 3s in this box, in these boxes. Since we know a 3 has to be here, we could also take out the 5s, because we know 5 has to be here. And we could take out the 8, since we know an 8 has to be there. Which makes the real question, is it 1 or is it 2? And then that leaves us with 4, 6, 7, 9 as possibilities, and we know one of them is 9. So 5, 6, 7, 8. No, 5, 6, 7, 9 is still doable. 4, 6, 8, 9 is still doable because this could be 8. And then 3, 7, 8, 9 isn't doable because I can't have both a 3 and an 8 in this spot, and I cannot have a 3 or an 8 in any of these spots. So that eliminates one possibility. Is there a possibility that the 1 is here? Seems like it could be. And I just don't see anything else. Yeah, still not sure. So we're gonna have to just decide, I think, to use the smart hint. Now wait a minute. When I'm looking at the 8s here, let's look at the 9s for a second, see if there's anything helpful in that. Well, if 9s can only be here, then this can't be a 9. Can't be a 9. Won't be a 9. Anyways, back to 8s. If it's a case where I thought I saw that 8s had something going on for it, but I guess I was looking at 9s. If we know a 9 is here, we can eliminate those as 9s. We can elevate these, one of those as being a 9. Then maybe there was would be something about a combination here. I don't see how though. Seems like there would just be too high of a possibility of it making a mistake. Could not generate a hint. Well, at least we know we're somewhat on the right track then. If the game can't generate a hint, that means there is something more cryptic in the puzzle that we have to consider. Yeah, but I don't see it. So then, before we go to the written hints, the only thing I can do is just try and look at every box and see if we figured out anything. If we know one of these is 9s, the other two would have 6, 7, or 8 in it. So 2 digits out of 6 and 7. So if any of these had 6 and 7 in it, or 6 and 8, then that would eliminate something. Of the two combinations here, we have a 6 and an 8, where, so if the 6 and 8 were eliminated here, I'm not sure that actually means anything either. Yeah, I started too late in the evening to really record another episode. Let's read the first hint. Every column in Sudoku contains digits that sum to 45. The secret, quote unquote. Which, the whole silliness of the secret and the way it's said in Cracking the Cryptic's YouTube page really doesn't translate to print as well. And inherently, if we're going to say the secret is that the digits 1 through 9 always add up to 45, there are equally valid secrets that if the number 9 was already locked in, then the digits 1 through 8 in a box or a row or a column would add up to the remainder of 45 minus 9. You could just keep on doing that. If only the digit 1 is left and there's only one spot in the box, then the secret at that point would be 1. And inherently, as you reduce the number of possible digits or the number of possible spaces, the number of possible combinations goes down, or at least trends downward, and that leads to eventually being able to solve everything. There is no greater secret, as far as I can tell, as far as like what the totality of an 81 grid should be, or adding up 2 rows, or adding up 2 columns. So the first hint says every column in Sudoku contains a digit summing to 45. So his solution there would have been to take the 19, take the 17 here, add them together to get to 36, and then subtract 36 from 45, which leaves you with 9. And that, in fairness, is a way better way to find that this is the digit 9 instead of considering every single possible combination and just trying to brute force it. Let's go to the next puzzle, next hint, because that's not going to help me. Although in fairness, this next hint should help me since I don't think I've really gotten that far and I'm already 44 minutes into this puzzle. The 27 cage, which would be which one? This cage is everywhere. And frankly, I think we are to a point where coloring in things does make sense. Just color in all of the blocks that we can. Almost done. There is the 27 block. There you go. So that's all the boxes colored in, and when you can see them all colored in like that, you can see quite a bit. So the 27 cage is, I guess, what they're being called, is killer cages, not killer blocks or killer boxes, at row 6 column 1, and the 28 cage at row 7 column 4 must both contain 9. Okay, let's take that bit of logic first. We do see that these two must contain 9, and the combinations here must contain 9, which I think I probably did determine that to be true, which led me to picking this as being 9. This means the 9 in the 30 cage, which is where? The 9. These 9s are in row 7 and 8. Okay. This row and that row. That means the 9s in the 30 cage, which I guess is this, must be at row 3. What? Column 8. This means the 9 in the 28 cage must be it. Okay, it's two sentences that are about the exact same, and they're just spaced terribly and written terribly. These hints are still awful. There's a sentence here that says this means the 9s in the 30 cage here must be in these two spots, which we figured that out. And then the sentence basically starts over again. This means the 9s in the 28 cage must be in row 3 column 8. Why specifically in that place and not here? No, yeah, I'm misreading this. This is so difficult to keep my eyes to read this right. This means that the 9s need to be in box 3, which we did mark that too. So we're still ahead of the hints so far. This, and then it continues and just basically says the exact same phrase the exact same way, and particularly in the English language, you should change things up. And this means that the 26 cage in row 1, column 8 cannot contain a 9, which we got that. It must be 5, 6, 7, 8. Now the 28 cage at row 3, column 8 must contain an 8, which must now be in box 6. How are we talking about box 6 as far as the 8 here? They're talking about the 28 cage. This one means that an 8 has to be up here, and we did figure that out. In fact, I probably de-elevate even the 9s now. This means the 8 and the 28 cage at row 7, column 4. This means the 8 and the 30 cage here must be either in row 7, column 8, or column 9, because there already is an 8 that has to be in here, which we can go ahead and mark those off. Can also, I guess, mark off 7s for the same reason. Well, that gets us to a 69 now. Hmm. 6-9 pair up here. We kind of stopped reading the rules here. It says the 8 in the 30 cage must be in row 7, column 7, or column 8, or possibly here, just because we know that there's already an 8 up here, and we know by some reasoning that an 8 can't be here, which I don't fully follow that. Yeah. What is influencing this 8 to tell me? An 8 must be in these 3 rows because it then eliminates everything here, and then 8 here would eliminate everything here, and then 8 here. I mean, we pretty much, I think, have figured out that this digit is 8. Which means if there was an 8 in this spot, it would eliminate that, and then this would have to be 8 too. Okay. Yeah. I'm still not 100% sure how it got down. Oh, I guess it's just because this cage has to have an 8 in it. And so since the 8 had to be down here, then it eliminated the possibility of an 8 here. which also should have eliminated the possibility of an 8 there for the same reason. And then there shouldn't be a 7 as a possibility here. There really shouldn't be a 6 as a possibility here. We know this is 6, 9, we know this is 7, 8. Then we know this should be 5, 6, 9. Now, not 4, 7, 9. Okay. 5, 6, 9 probably severely limits the possibilities on this. This could be 3 or 5 or 1 as a possibility. And this could be 4, and then this could be 9, and then this could be 7, or this could be 8, and this could be 6. Yeah. If we look at possible 5s, we know this is 5, 6, 9, then we can eliminate 5 from being a possibility in either combination. I think one of these combinations is just out anyways. Can we do 2, 3, 5, and 7? Or did we already figure out that 7 has to be here? So this is 1, 3, 5, 8. Which means it's not 2. And so this one should be either 1 or 3. Then I guess it's probably better just to mark all of these. Okay, and then that probably means something, but maybe not, because there could be a 5 here. This could be 5, and then 6, 7, and 9 could all possibly fit if this was 7. Or this could be maybe maneuvered some other way. If it is 5, 6, 7, 9, then we know for a fact that this has got to be 7 because of the 5, 6, 9 here. If this was 4, 6, 8, 9, then 6 and 9 would have to be here, and then this could be 4 and 8, and this could be 4 and 8. Can probably eliminate that from being a 6. And that from being a 6. That from being a 7. And that from being a 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is possibilities in that spot. So we got to hint 3, and hint 3 helped us a little bit. Can we do a smart hint? There is apparently a hidden pair, an 8-9 pair, at row 1, column 2. How did we hit a 8-9 pair in that spot? I guess we hit an 8-9 pair there, because while it could be 7, 8, 9, 8 and 9 now are the only possibilities in that box. This point here and this point here is the only place where an 8 or 9 could be, which means we can demark all of those 8s and then demark these 7s here. And we're just going to spiral around almost certainly. It also means one of these is an 8. And means one of these is a 9. Does that change the combination any? No, I don't think so. So that one smart hint didn't get me back on track. Yeah. Could eliminate the 4s and 6s here, since they're redundant now. This is an easier puzzle, so I am able to just like quickly mark something in pencil, use that information, then erase that thing in pencil. Whereas these super difficult puzzles, the 10-star puzzles, had you have to pencil mark several things to such an extreme that you really couldn't even pencil mark a possibility and look at it. You just had to consider possibilities in your head or pull out a regular piece of paper. And that's an ultimate failure, certainly, in any game that you where you are taking a real world game, a pen and paper game, or a board game, and then trying to make it digital. It should be in every way better than the physical version, and in no way should you have to pull out a pencil and paper to solve a pencil and paper game on a PC. Yeah, either a pencil, paper, or a transparency sheet and a like marker. Which I've been saying transparency sheet in this whole series, and I hope people still know what those are. They probably do. They probably still use them in the underfunded old-fashioned schools around the world, I'm sure. Some enough that you've probably seen them. Unfortunately, I do think I am just going to have to go to the next smart hint. Like, we could try and just look at the influence of numbers and see if that might jog something. But we are very much in the early stage of solving this puzzle. I guess jigsaw puzzles probably would work very well as a counterbalance to Sudoku puzzles. If they had you solve a Sudoku for an hour, then they had you do a pictorial jigsaw puzzle for an hour. They'd be very similar activities, but one would be more about shapes and just looking at a picture, more creative, like right brain or left brain, whatever. One would be the right lobe, correct lobe to mention. And then the Sudoku puzzle would be the opposite, the more analytical, the more logical, the more mathematical solutions. Yeah, I guess just next smart hint. There's a candidate line in box 1. 4 can only go in column 3. We see that. Which removes 4 as a candidate from row 4, column 3, row 6, column 3, row 7, column 3, and row 8, column 3. We've already done all that. In box 1, 6 can only go in this, which removes 6 from all of those same positions also. And that creates an impossible killer combination. I don't know why they call them the impossible killer combinations. Maybe they are, but wouldn't it be easier just to shorten the hint descriptor to killer combination? None of the cells in the cage at row 6, column 3, can be 4, 6, which means the cage cannot be 2, 3, 4, 8, 1, 2, 6, 8. Removing 2 is a possibility from the cells in that cage. Then overlapping killer candidate restriction says all possible combinations in the cage at row 1, column 1 contain 1, 2, 3, 5, removing them as candidates from row 1, column 3 to row 2, column 3, and row 3, column 3. And then the last bit of the smart hint, which we had done all of that, is just that there's a hidden single saying that the 2 can only go in row 4, column 3. Which I guess, yeah. 1, 4, 6, 8 got eliminated when we found this 8, 9 pair. And I didn't think of that. So that's why I missed that. So then what does that do for us otherwise? We now have a 2 that can't be in this box and the 2s that can't be in these rows. So unless there's a combination here that said 2 can't be in this spot, which it already can't because there's already a 2 here. We can't do anything with that. Same is still true here. And in fact, it's more so true because now we know 2 can be here or here or here. So we can elevate that to say 2 has to be there. But that doesn't do anything else as far as I can tell. It still seems very possible that a 2 is in one of these 2 spots and then a 2 is not in this combination 22 box. And an 8, 9 possibility in this row. This column's not going to do anything. So let's just ask another smart hint. Let's see. Candidate line in box 1, 9 can only go in column 2. Yeah, which removes 9 as a candidate from row 7, column 2. And row 8, column 2. Also, I guess would have eliminated it here, but I guess that had been eliminated by this 9. Okay, so 9 can't be here. We need a 9 in the box. That means those 2, or one of those 2 has to be a 9. Overlapping killer candidate restriction. All possible combinations in the cage at row 7, column 4 contain 9, removing it as a candidate from row 8, column 4. Well, this is kind of crazy, but okay. They're saying yes, all of these, since this must contain a 9 and 9 can't be in any of these, which, okay, I wouldn't be surprised if they say the exact same thing with a 6 and a 5, which in fairness I don't have 6 removed as a possibility or 5 removed as a possibility. And then this may get me to like a 5 box hidden septuple combo. If we can get a triple here that says 2s and 3s and 1s can only be here, then we know this is 4, 7. If we can get a double that says only 1s and 3s can be here, then we would know this would be a triple of 2, 4, 7. I guess the question is how would we achieve that at the moment? It seems like a tall order. There's a hidden single. 9 can only go in row 8, column 1, in box 7. Row 8, column 1, box 7. Nine can only go here because a 9 can't be here. Okay. I was overlooking that. So, does that affect anything else going up or across? I don't think it does. So then the thought here would be to look at the patterns. Now it is either 4, 6 with an 8 here, which would make sense, or it's 5, 6, 7 with a 5 here. Because a 5 can't be here. So this is either 4 or 5 as a possibility. It can't be anything else. Hopefully I'm right about that. And that means these two are a 6, 7 pair. And I'm hoping I'm correct about that. And that means 6 and 7 are gone. That gives you 1, 2, 4 as a triple. If now this was a 4, then there would have to be a 4 either here or here, because this one would be eliminated, which would work fine because the 4 is here. If this was 5, however, then there would have to just be a 4 here or here, or a 4 here, 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 eliminating this, making this 4. So it does seem like 4s could work in multiple patterns. So there's something more to this we'll have to eliminate. Six, 7 pair, 4, 5. Does seem like we are slowly chiseling away at this puzzle, but we still have a lot of possibilities in the middle here. Let's see about this. If there was a 4 here or here, that would eliminate, well, 4 could be here, or it could be here, but if 4 was here, then the 4 would have to be here. We kind of know that the 4 has to be here, either in this row or this row. So these two probably balance each other out. If a 4 can only be in this row or this row, the two options there, and a 4 must either be in this row or this row, then we know combined the 4 is not in this row. This has got to be a 4. Let's test it and find out. Okay, that eliminates 1s and 2s as a possibility. Yeah, I have to say I think this game is incredibly inefficient too, in just how it runs. It's very weird that I've been playing this game and I've just been seeing the little hourglass icon pop up while playing. It's a 1 and 5 pair. That doesn't change too much. Still, if this is a 7-8 pair, 7 shouldn't have been a possibility here. Shouldn't have been a possibility in that spot anyways. Either this is one of these is going to be 1, and then the other possibility is going to be 2 or 3 as a possibility. Otherwise this would be 4 and 6 down here. Yeah, seems like there's still too many limitations there. And then are we still on the calculation of what this would be? Doesn't even matter. Do I need to see the calculation of that? I don't think I do. We know it's 1, 2, 3. We know now that the only place where 2 could be is in that spot, so that's got to be 2. This gives us 3, 4, 7, with that being 1. What? If this is a 1 and 2, and there must be a 1 in this box, then why is this 1 wrong? This 2 is right. Oh, because this isn't a 1 and 2. This is just a 2, isn't it? Because this could be a 1 or a 5, which weirdly still doesn't really make a lot of sense. That, like, the 1 would be here, would eliminate all the 1s here, and then this would be 3, 4, 7. And then there would be a 2 here, and then there'd have to be a 5 down here. That's a possibility. So I'm gonna add a 5 and assume that that's true. It doesn't get us a 3, 4, 7 here, however. We need a 7 in this box. This 7, 8 should mean that this can't have been a 7 anyways. So I'm still making mistakes. The spots up here, though, have not been touched in a while. Ideally, instead of having a smart hint system, you would like to just be able to hold down a button and highlight some things as a hint visually, instead of having a linguistical text-based description. Yeah, I would like to pull this off without using another smart hint, but I don't see it happening. It's just too much room for mistakes. And too much confusion in my brain. Let's see. Oh. Well, here's a smart hint we haven't seen before. Row 7, column 3 is entered incorrectly. Okay, I guess that explains why that is a deeper red overall. So let's go back and correct this. Then, can this be 1? Can this be 3? Can this be 5? It can't be a 5 with the 5, 6, 9 here. And can it be 8? No. So then can this one be 1? Looks like it. Can it be 3? Looks like it's a possibility. Can it be 5? Maybe. And can it be 8? No. So then I'm in this weird position whether I should just put in the right answer because I know the right answer, or should I try and logically solve for the right answer. I think the fair middle ground here is just to ask for a smart hint and see how the smart hint would work to filling in this spot. 2 can only go in row 7, column 9. Okay. And so that 2 didn't seem to affect anything up here except for eliminating a 2 possibility here. Didn't seem to affect anything here. It does probably make this a 7 if this is 5, 9, 7. But that's not really connected to the 2. Eliminating 2's from the box here. I don't think really did anything. Nope. That's not what I meant to type. Nope. Okay, so neither one of these are right. If this is not 6, 7, then we need to reevaluate. 6 and 9, but 4 and 8. So 8 might be here, or this could be 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then I guess by more logic, 4 can't be there because there's a 4 already in the box, but 5 could be here. And then could 8 be here? No. Could 9 be there? So yeah, 80 minutes into this puzzle, I'm just making a lot of mistakes, and pretty obviously in making the mistakes I'm making the puzzle way more difficult for myself. Everything here says that this has to be 6, and yet the puzzle says that's wrong. I don't understand it. Let's just clear everything in this puzzle then. Everything in this 27 cube. Maybe I miscalculated at some point and eliminated the 3, 7, 8. And so let's reconsider this. Could a 3 be here? And then a 3 be in one of these two? Yes. Could a 7 be here? Yes. Could an 8 be here? And then the 9's already done. Yeah. So if this is correct, then this would have to be 8. And then these should still be 6. And then this one, it's either going to be 7 or 3. If 7's not here, then that's going to be 3. And that's going to be 7. And yeah, I'm not sure I really followed logic to get back to that point from that mistake, or whether I'm just really cheating. But let's go forward. Then that tells me that that was 5, and that was kind of a guess. The move being here should be that it is 1, I would say 3, 5, 8. But if that was the case, then this would have to be 3. Then this one would have to be 5. Okay. I guess we'll just have to continue the struggle to get back on it. And so this would be 2 and 6. That's possibilities. Now, which removes 6s from possibility there. And we know that this box here can't have a 2 in it now. So it's got to be 1, 3, 4, 5. Which, if that's correct, then that's got to be 6. So if it's 1, 3, 4, 5, do we know the 5 has to be down here? Very possibly. Do we know the 1 has to be up here? Very possibly. And then do we know if the 4 needs to be up here? What even prevents this from being a 4? I don't see anything that actually does prevent it from being a 4. So you have a 1, 3, 4 triple here, I think. Which probably means that these two are not 3, and this then would be 4 or 5, but I'm not sure if that's accurate. Yeah, in the interest of time, I think it's just probably better to use a smart hint to figure out what the next step would be. A hidden pair, 8-9 pair at row 1, column 2, and row 2, column 2. Removes all other candidates from those cells. We had already done that. Hidden single box 3 can only go in row 3, column 2 in box 1. Oh yeah, we've now locked that down. So I could have just done some simple Sudoku to solve that. That eliminates one of the 3 places where a 3 could have been there, and don't think does anything else for us. 1, 2, 5 here eliminates the 1s here and the 2 here. Should make that 6. It should make that 2. There's a lot of 5 possibilities here, and just some missing numbers completely. Like, it feels like there's missing numbers. I guess one of these has to be 7, and then 5 should be eliminated, so this should just be 4 and 7 pair. And then this should be 1, 5, 6. But I don't think it's going to turn the corner and help us get into the center in that direction. And this 3 turns the corner a little bit, but only a little bit. Let's see, 6 or 7, 8. Yeah, I don't think we can do anything with that. Let's just see the next smart hint. Can't generate a smart hint. Alright, well, let's look at basic Sudoku rulings then. I guess we know a 2 must be here. That may help us a little bit. Then we know these 2 are probably going to pair up But I guess it could also work in a different way. We know a 2 can be here. We don't have enough information really with the 3s. Basically have no information with the 4s. 5s. 6s. 7s. 8s. And 9s. And I'm gonna just take a break. And I'll be right back. Obviously this isn't gonna be a quick one. Okay, I'm back. And basically nowhere. Like, I think I was literally just going through all the numbers with basic Sudoku, trying to see if there was something that I would see with influence. But there's giant gaps here in which many number possibilities exist. And I just don't think there's anything here from this we could take. If we have an 8-3 here, that would guarantee that an 8 and a 3 couldn't be in this spot. So you would kind of need something that was 8-3-2 or 9-2-3, I think, before you would eliminate enough possibilities. And even then, you may not eliminate enough possibilities with just the way this whole lines up. A 7 couldn't be here, and an 8 couldn't be here. So because of this 7 and 8. So we could eliminate that. Then we kind of know a 2 can't be in any of those. But we'd already figured that out. These combinations still feel very plausible. Just like we could get rid of a 7 and an 8 in this part, which would force a 7 and an 8 to be here. If a 7 and 8 are going to be involved, is there a single combination where 7 and 8s aren't involved? There's this one that doesn't have a 7 and 8. There's this one, and that may just be it. So if we could prove that a 7 is not here, and that instead 7 and 8 are in the other boxes, then we would limit the number of possibilities here. We could try just basic column, just look at every column and see if there's only one place for one specific number. It just really starts to fall apart when you're looking at these columns. Just far too many numbers. You could do the same with rows and look that way. Of course, that's still the same problem, just big messes of numbers all over here. You could try and look for boxes too. Again, it'd just be a big mess. So let's just go to smart hint. Can't generate a hint, so then let's skip to hint. I believe 3 is where we were before. It said that the 28 cage at row 3, column 8. 28 cage at row 3, column 8. This 28 cage, not this one. Teaches us some things. The 28 cage at row 3, column 8 must now be 4, 7, 8, and as a 26 cage makes up a 5, 6, 8, 9. Impossible. So row 4, column 8 and 9 are 7, 8. We got to that. This forces 7, 8 into row 7. And row column 7 and column 8. Okay, because there's a 7, 8 in this box, then this has to be a 7, 8. Now the 28 cage in row 7, column 4, this one must be 5, 6, 8, 9, and we got that a while ago. Row 7, column 1 can be the maximum of 4 now, but cannot be lower than 3, or the cage it's in won't work. The cage needs an 8, which can be placed at row 6, column 1. Remember, the 9 in that cage can be placed too, as 9 in box 1 must be in column 2. So that would have gotten 8, 3, and 9, I think. And I got that, but I'm not sure I really use logic, other than the logic of the game is telling me the digits are wrong to get to that. And my fear here is we're going to have like 2 more hints and then that'll be it. But maybe I really only need 1 more hint and then I could just unravel the rest of this puzzle. Sudoku places a 6 in row 8, column 7. So the 27 cage at row 6, column 1 is 3, 7, 8, 9. We got to that point. What are the possible values of row 4 now? Column 3. It cannot be higher than 2, or it would be impossible to make the digits in box 1 sum to 45. Again, doing the secret. I very obviously don't like doing the secret. I don't like doing that math. It would be a addition subtraction table to memorize, and if I had ever memorized a single mathematical table of solutions instead of just always processing the math, even fairly simplistic math, I'd probably have like 1 through 10 like memorized, but that's about it. I gave up on memorizing math tables and times tables very quickly in elementary school, and frankly I think I did well enough without memorizing that stuff. It just slows you down a little bit when somebody asks you a stupidly easy question like what's 7 times 5. So, but then when anybody is asked what's 827 times 5, everybody is going to take a long time to calculate that out. Memorization of times table is definitely something that should not be taught in school, in my opinion, these days. It's not helpful. Everybody walks around with a calculator in their pocket in the form of a phone, and frankly we're getting to the point where everybody's going to just walk around with a smart AI device on them or in their brain to ask basic undebatable math questions, although I'm sure people will somehow try and debate math questions too. But yeah, pretty much memorization of most things is wasteful. It's just wasting brain cells in kids, when learning how to find the answers is way better of a concept. And perhaps kids should still be taught today how to find the answers the old-fashioned way if the internet happens to ever go down or be broken. Dictionaries, libraries, things like that. But yeah, you'll never be in a life-threatening situation where somebody asks you what is 7 times 8. And I would say, on top of that, this 45 secret, to have the complements of 45 memorized, where you're subtracting every digit between 1 and 44 from 45, and you have all of that memorized is quite unique to Sudoku, and only Sudoku. I can't think of anything else where 45 would be a magic number that would matter. If we're going to talk about numbers and mathematics too, while I'm not really solving this puzzle, I would also argue that there is almost certainly a better numbering system than 1 through 9 that humans should use, and yet there is just so much momentum around having a base 10 numbering system in existence that it would be, it has proven and probably will always prove to be impossible to switch to it. But there was, I believe the Mayans had a base 12 numbering system, and a base 12 numbering system is almost certainly a better system. You can still easily count base 12 on one hand instead of two to count to 10 by simply counting each of the segments of a normal human hand in the 4 fingers. So the pointer finger has 3 segments, so you go 1, 2, 3. The middle finger has 3 segments, 4, 5, 6. And you can do it with your thumb while you're counting, so you can silently count and keep your position one-handed in base 12. And then your ring finger would be 7, 8, and 9. And then your pinky finger, the first segment, would just be that new digit, which you just probably call A, B, and C before somebody picked up and invented a new word for a base 12. That in the same way that hexadecimal has 1 through 9, then A through F. The reason why base 12 is a much better numbering system is because it more naturally divides in more different ways, and it more naturally fits into nature. There are 60 seconds in a day. 12 divided into 60 is 5. There are 2 12-hour periods in a day. There are 60 minutes in a day. There are 24 hours in a day total. All of that divides and works with 12 very well. Also, dozens and fractions of dozens are used very often in like baking and such, and weights are in base 12 are very often done in 12s or divisible by 12s. But like I said, there's literally no momentum and no chance that we would ever move to a base 12 system, even though it would make a lot of math a lot easier. It would also require rewriting every single mathematical formula to a base 12 system that is currently in a base 10 system, and of rewriting basically everything in a new mathematical language. Anyways, though, I'm rambling here, which I think really highlights my lack of interest in Sudoku at this point. So it was asking, what's the possible values of row 4, column 3? It cannot be higher than 2. It would make it possible to sum to 45. That means row 1, column 2 is either 7, 9, or 8, 9. 7 is in row 8, column 2, so we figured that out by that point, I guess. Fixes this, which makes this a 2. Sudoku then places a box in row, places a 5, and in row 9, column 9. What? Boy, is that just like a drastic shift. It says this is 2, and then now jump all the way here diagonally, where every hint really should be either vertically or horizontally connected to the previous hint. because the solution, as you're unraveling, would have to be vertically, horizontally, or it would have to clear a box out in some way. But there's this digit just does not see this digit. So we get to the point that this is a 2, and then Sudoku somehow says this has to be a 5. How so? I mean, we've just got a mess of 5s here. And so yes, we know that there's a 5 here, and we see a 5 here, which would tell me that this has to be a 5. But at what point did we either determine a 5 was here, or a 5 must be here? Yeah. Just doesn't seem like that's the case. What says that this can't be a 5? You know it's 5, 6, 7, 8. If this was an 8, 9, this could be an 8. We know the 9s are down here. That means a 9 possibly needs to be here or here. Let's ask the smart hint. Nope, smart hint also. If it was just that simple, the smart hint should be able to generate a hint. Seriously. What is it that the hint writer did that got skipped over? Looking for this piece here. And I could decolorize some of this. Very little of this actually though. Basic 2s. I guess if 2s have to be here or here, then this can't be 2. Then this has to be 2. Alright. So then that means, let's just ignore the written hints, that anything with a 2 in it now is not valid. Okay. Then I see a 1, a 4, and a 5. And a possibly 3. I just don't see probably enough numbers being eliminated to go any further with that. 1, 4, 5 here. If this was 1, 4, 5 and this was 1, 4, 5 would make this a 3. If that was the case. Still can't generate a smart hint. So he could be here or here. Really don't think I can do anything with 4s. Still just a huge mess overall. 5s. We know a 5 has to be in one of these columns. Or one of these rows, but yeah, far too much of this series has me have I had to go to these hints and just trust it to be right, where I've just not followed the logic, if there actually is logic there, which I would guess in a lot of cases there was, and I was just not seeing it. It's very possible in every case there was logic there and I just wasn't seeing it. It's very possible. Now in retrospect, I'm just completely awful at doing Sudoku games and should have never attempted this. See, yeah, why is my computer spinning up its fans when I just click the 9 button there? Like, why can I audibly hear my computer's CPU or GPU spin up the fan when I do that? It just shouldn't be using that much processing power. And I don't think it's just hot either. It says the CPU usage is really at like 1%. Maybe that's OBS is only using 1% and maybe Sudoku. I'm gonna have to just like open Task Manager and find out if Cracking the Cryptic really takes massive amounts of CPU processing time at some times, or just massive amounts of RAM. I just don't get this though. And I don't think there's a way to get it. All the possibilities here, as far as 5s, would do what? You know, one of these has to be a 5, which would eliminate this 5, which would, or one of these would be a 5, which would eliminate this 5. And then one of these could eliminate that, and one of these could eliminate that, but obviously can't be both. But none of that stops this middle row. Unless there was some kind of Sudoku math here, where there literally is no way that the 5 could be here and the 5 can be here to satisfy this column, or that the 5 couldn't be here to satisfy that column. But the fact that it just says simple Sudoku is the answer is crazy. Just absolutely crazy. Sudoku places 5 in row 9, column 9. Here. And if it was true, and this hint was right, written correctly, then the smart hint should be able to tell me to do that. So take your pick. Either the hint is written wrong, or the smart hint system is programmed so poorly that it can't see a Sudoku solution that, in fairness, I can't see either. Maybe if the 5 came in here, from here, then that would mean the 5 would have to be here or here. And then if this eliminated, nope, it couldn't be here. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. If the 5 was here, then they're saying the 5 would be here. That would eliminate that, which still really wouldn't force that to be 5. Whatever. We're just gonna have to go forward. Basically, you're just cheating at that point, though, if you don't understand the hint, or if the hint is written wrong. You're just putting in answers. And yeah, I could have done that in any puzzle. I can do that in about 5 minutes in any Sudoku puzzle in Cracking the Cryptic. I could just highlight all the numbers, and I've shown that it can be done once before. I can just highlight all the numbers and click 1 through 9, removing every number that is marked correct during the process from the highlight, so it locks in the correct numbers. And since there's no limitation of the number of errors, or even a reduction in score or increase in time for our errors, there's no real penalty for cheating that way other than you're hurting yourself. Now, basic Sudoku, now that we put in that 5, does this 5 influence anything here anymore? I don't think it really does, not enough. Anyways. So I would lean towards just hitting the next button. And I feel like we figured out that this must be a 5134 a long time ago. On my own, I figured that out. The 25 cage in box 2, this one, cannot contain an 8, so it must contain a 9. At what point did we determine that this can't contain an 8? It must also have a 7 in it, and that can be placed. This 25 cage cannot contain an 8 because of what reason? If there was an 8 here or here in these two, that would eliminate the 8s, and this already eliminates the 8s, so the options are an 8 here or an 8 here. But if there was an 8 up here, then that would eliminate this, making this 9, and this would be an 8, and that would eliminate that. So these two bearing down on each other eliminates the 8s. Okay, I see that, although I didn't see it on my own accord. Which then means that one is not right. And then they said the 7 could be placed. Before we do that, can we, with more determination, figure out which combination it really is? I don't think we can. But we know the 7 is common, is the one common digit. And then from that, if a 7 was here, it would eliminate the 7s here. And then it would make one of these two 7s, which would eliminate the 7 here, which would then, if a 7 was here, mean both those 7s have been eliminated, so the 7 has to be here, and then the 7 is missing on that row. So that seems doable in multiple places. And in columns here, I'm not seeing anything that would limit to 7. Meanwhile, if I put the 7 here, let's consider that scenario. That would make this 6, and then that would mean one of these could be 7, probably this is fine. And then one of these could be 7, probably that's fine. Does it change in any way? Otherwise, 7 here, eliminating this row, putting a 7 half to be in this spot, eliminating this row. Unless there was just something that said that this couldn't be 7. I don't we just haven't done enough yet. It just skipped over the step-by-step instructions that would be helpful. You know what you could do here too like, I've made a bunch of suggestions, and obviously I doubt anybody will ever hear any of them. You could just have screenshots. It'd be very easy to just have a like box icon that clicked on this and brought up a screenshot of what the state before and after should be. It'd be very easy to make screenshots. It'd be fairly easy to make screenshots in Cracking the Cryptic as an app all the time. Just having single frame screenshots of every action that is taken, and you could potentially then have a film, a replayable film of screenshots that you would be an interesting visual log. It would be something you could certainly show off once the puzzle is solved, to just show the player and their actions in a very fast, accelerated way. Plus, if you showed the player how they solved the puzzle in a super fast way, it might trick the player into thinking they actually solved the puzzle in a fast way, even though they very possibly didn't. Yeah, I can't place the 7. Let's go back. This is hint 9. If you can place the 7, the smart hint should tell me something. Nope. Smart hint can't tell me anything either. So what did we... Where are we dropping the ball here? Like, is it that I'm supposed to somehow know which digit is the odd man out? Whether this is 3 or 4 or 9 or 8. I guess we eliminated 8s, so this could be either 3, 6, 7 or 5, 7, 9 now. Which that would mean 8 does need to be probably in one of these two places. And we could probably go ahead and remove 8 as a possibility here. And I think even 9 is a possibility there. But no, let's leave 9s. But this isn't just going to fall into basic Sudoku solutions. Not unless I missed something. It would have had to have been something big. Something really, really big. Something really big and really obvious. So the 25 cage in box 2 cannot contain an 8, so it must contain a 9. Okay. Let's go ahead and mark that. It must also have a 7. You can mark that, and that can be placed. Don't follow. Like, at what point, if we determined these two couldn't be 7, but then we would have had to lock down this possibilities. Or we're saying this is a 7, so this can't be a 7. Let's follow, I guess, the logic here. If it must be a 7 and must be a 9, we can eliminate those from possibilities up here. That might help a little. We know the 2 needs to be either here or here, but I don't know specifically where. 2 might be here. I will give it one more try. Then we'll just have to jump forward. And that's the worst case scenario, certainly. Because when you jump forward and you just don't understand and haven't gotten the puzzle to the place where it should be for the next step, you're just going to be more confused. Maybe in the process of evaluating the handwritten hints, if they were to be properly tested and evaluated, maybe there is an idea there where you could make sure every hint ends in such a way that it tells you just the absolute solution, that the 7 must be in row 5 column 2 or row 2 column 5. That way, even if you don't understand the explanation at the beginning, it would just be a solution. And yeah, you've seen that in hints a lot of ways, a lot of times too, where you'll have an explanation paragraph at the top and then you'll have something labeled as solution in one sentence there if you just want to jump to the solution and not really be explained to. One of these two have to be 8, which means these are not 8. Yeah, that just didn't help either. Moving on. Last hint, and this could be the absolute worst case scenario where the last hint pops up and it still doesn't give me enough information, and at that point I think at 125 minutes in I'm just going to put in random numbers. We'll try to do it as logically as possible with the highest percentage chance of being right, but if it is just going to come down to putting in random numbers and seeing them for right, so be it. Yeah. Once 3 is placed in row 5, column 9, which let's look at the 3s. 9 can be placed in box 5, as it cannot go in row 4, column 5 anymore. From here the puzzle is straightforward. My butt it is. Okay, first part. Once 3 is placed here, let's work our way backwards. In what ways can you replace 3 here? It would be eliminating this as a possibility of being 3, which means either this still could be a 3 or this is a 3. I don't see how we get to any of that. Or it would also mean potentially eliminating this as a 3, which means one of these can be a 3, which I assume that is probably what we were supposed to do, is that we were supposed to figure out that there was a combination here of 3, 6, 7, 9. So, almost certainly, I guess that's the case. So how can we eliminate 4 as a possibility in this row? If anything, it feels like you can't, and that it should be the opposite. If 4s are here, if 4s are here, or 4s are here. Bigger question is how can we place the 7 that was in the previous hint. We know this and this are not 7, so maybe removing that helps highlight something. Means either a 7 is here or a 7 is here. Pretty obviously that's an important thing. If this is 7, then this would be 4 and 6, or 6 and 4, which really wouldn't affect too much. 4 here would eliminate 4 as a possibility. 4 here would stop that from being 4, and would make one of those 4. Yeah, I just don't think we can get there from here. So let's just cheat. Best guess. Now, if I was just gonna cheat normally, not knowing the hints, I would come over probably to like the top left and just guess between 8 and 9. 50-50 chance. That's the best odds you're gonna get. And then my hope would be that 8-9 being set right would then spiral around the puzzle and solve a bunch more. But since we know that 7 is supposed to be placed somehow, I probably should just guess. There is a possibility of a 7 being in here still, right? Just a lot of combinations between all of this. Like, let's just see if that's 7. No. That is this. Come on, actually work. Is that 7? No. Is that 7? No. So something is eliminating 7 as a possibility in this entire row. So that has to be 7. So I could try and spiral out here and solve this, but the mystery of how we were able to find out that the 7 goes here still bemuses me, unless it is just a case, and maybe it is just this, that if you have a 7 here, 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 and here, that somehow plays off in such a way that the 7 has to pair with this. But I swear I saw scenarios where you could have put a 7 here, and then it would have eliminated all these possibilities and all these possibilities, and then you could have gotten a 7 in one of these two to eliminate that possibility, and then you could have put a 7 down here. And I just don't see why a 4-6 pair couldn't be what would have been left over there. Okay. Still don't even really know what this combo is supposed to be, but let's just see if this really unravels much. I honestly don't think it will. 1 2 5 8, 1 5 8 1 5 8 4 7 4 7 here. Still don't have anything here. Still just don't have anything at all. that didn't unravel enough that I could see anything with basic Sudoku, which almost certainly that means that there's just entire things here that I didn't consider and haven't considered. 7 could be here, or 7 could be here, which would quickly determine which combinations work in both of these. Well, we've seen all the regular puzzles, so let's just see if Smart Hands can regenerate. Now, a single hidden box 2 can only go in row 1, column 5 now. Yeah, I didn't see a point here where we eliminated 2 from this, but I guess that is a typo, that there's a 2 there. Is that gonna spin us down into any new possibilities? It's gonna mean that this has to be 2. It's gonna mean we're close to having all the 2s locked in. Okay. But because all the 2s are now locked in, I don't think that helps me anymore. Let's see if we have another smart hint. Multiple lines. In boxes 3 and 6, this one and this one can only go in columns 7 and 9, which removes 1 from a candidate in row 7, column 7, in row 8, column 9. What? My brain is just not even comprehending these descriptions and what location they're even talking about. And the way they talk about it is weird, to say the box numbers when you're just going to mention the numbers too. Yes, I know it's a program here, but it is not linguistically optimized. Because in boxes 3 and 6, there can only be ones here or here. Then that removes 1 as a candidate in row 7, column 7, which should be that spot there, and that's not marked, and it shouldn't have been marked a long time ago. And columns 9 of row 8. Okay. I see what you're saying now, so then this has to be 1. Okay. That makes a 3-4 pair here. And there's also a 3-4 pair here, which highlights that there is a missing number here, and that one of these should be 1. Yeah. So that was another mistake. Candidate restriction box 7 is restricted to row 7, column 7, and row 7, column 8. In box 9, both of which see cells row 7, column 4. Here. Row cells row 7, column 6, and row 6, column 8. All of those boxes are being seen by these two. Removing 7 as a candidate from those cells, which long since has happened. That gives you a naked pair of a 6-9 at row 6, column 8 in row 6, column 9. Removes the 6-9 as candidates from the other cells in box 6. We've done that. Impossible killer combination. None of the cells in cage at row 3, column 8. Row 3, column 8 here. None of the cells in that cage can be 6, which means the cage cannot be 5, 6, 8, 9. Removing 5s from a possibility of the cell. Did that a long time ago. All the candidates for row 5 and column 8 are within the cage at row 1, column 8. Which means the cage must contain an 8 and cannot be 2, 7, 8, 9, or 3, 6, 8, 9, or 4, 6, 7, 9, which removes 3 as a possibility from the cells of this cage. We've done all this. And that all is just to get to this final part, that there is a hidden single column. 3 can only go in row 9, column 8. Were we even talking about 3s up until this point? No. So, the hidden single solution from the smart hint, which is obviously not that smart, is just to see that a 3 can go here and a 3 can go here. And for some reason that makes it guarantee that a 3 can't go here. Or actually it doesn't have anything to do with that, does it? It has to do with the fact that the only place in this column is the 3. There, that's much more simpler solution. Okay, and then that makes that 4. And then that would make that 9. And that gets the 4, 9. And I imagine things now may start to really fall into place as far as the puzzles, the Sudoku puzzle goes. But we may very well just also hit a speed bump again. This 1, 3 and this 1, 3 might be right. But we still have 7, 8s and a bunch of stuff here, a bunch of stuff here, a bunch of stuff here. Giant mess up here. I still don't think that there's a real solution. Well, if this eliminated the 2s, let's look at this. As far as all the possible combinations, let's assume that all of this is correct. Anything with a 2 in it seems to have been eliminated as a possibility because maybe there can't be a 2 in these spots and there can't be a 2 in this spot and there can't be a 2 in that spot. That makes sense. So then that would be possibly a 1. We could look at 9s. 9s would eliminate that. And we know a 9 is here and a 9 is here. Just seems all too complicated though. Yeah. Way too complicated. I don't think I don't think I'm at the point where I should be able to solve this, and yet the handwritten hints say everything should be solved. There's a naked pair, 7, 8 in row 4, column 8. Removes 7s and 8s from every other possibility in a row. Okay, that's getting the numbers down. And it removes all 7 8s in box 6. And then 7 can only go at that point into row 6. column 4 in row 6. 7. Okay, I see how that's the case. Then that forces that to be a 7. And I don't think that helps us any further from that. We got that the 2's done rather early. So now if we look at all the possibilities, we can eliminate any combination that doesn't include a 6. And since a 7 can't be here, if these numbers are correct, 7, 8 removes this from being a possibility of a 7 here or here, and the 7 removes the possibility of a 7 being there, so the 7s do go out. And then 1, 4, 8, 9 still seems viable. 3, 4, 6, 9 seems doable. And then 3, 5, 6, 8 seems doable still. And I feel like I'm just going to click Smart Hint again, and it's going to tell me something that's probably fairly obvious. 7, 8 pair in row 4, column 8 and 9 remove 7, 8 candidates from all other cells in box 6. We already did that. And that leaves a hidden single row. 7 can only go in row 5 in one place. Row 5, column 1. That fixes that 7, and that fixes that 4. Which maybe that starts to make something happen as far as the possible combinations in these boxes. But I don't know what it would be. If you had 7, 8, 4, and 2 all pointing to one box, could that do something? Could it eliminate like this possibility of a 1, 4, 8? I don't think so, because you could have a 1 or 9 here, and then 4, 8, 1 or 9 easily. Maybe if you had a 4 and 2 above and a 7 and 8 this way, maybe that would work. Or if you had 2 parts of the killer cage, eliminating 2 possibilities where it could be. A 4 could be here. A 7 could be here. Well, an 8 could be here. A 4 could be here. And a 7 could be here. For 1, 4, 7. And then, yeah, I just don't care enough, frankly. Let's just click hints. In box 4, 1 can only go in column 1 from column 2, which removes 1 as a candidate from row 1, column 2, and 2. That's been done a long time ago. In boxes 1 and 3, 8 can only go in rows 1 and 2, which removes 8 from a candidate from row 1, column 4. So let's follow this. 8s can only go here or here in rows 1 and 3. Because 8s can only go there, that removes 8s from this spot, and this spot, and this spot, and this spot, and this spot. So all of those can't be 1s. Is that possibly the exact same thing we could take from like 9s? No, I don't think we could. Then there's an impossible killer combination. None of the cells in cage at row 2, column 4 can be 8, which means the cage can't be 1, 7, 8, 9, removing 1 from a possibility of the cells in the cage. We literally just did remove the 1s, so clearly these hints aren't really that connected to each other. And then that gives us a single row that 1 can only be here, which then means what? 1 has to be here. 1 can only go in row 2, column 9, in that spot. And then I guess that makes that a 3. Which I guess that makes that a 3. Then if I consider 1s, again, 1 basically has to be here. So that has to be a 1. That has to be a 5. Still leaving a lot of possibilities. And the 1 and the 3 going down this direction just doesn't feel like it can do anything more. We could look at the possible combinations here and see if now maybe we've eliminated the possibility. Nope, still seems like both are doable. And this doesn't look like this is any better than that. Remember that the written hint straight up says that the puzzle should have just been solvable by now by putting the 3 here. Impossible killer combination. None of the cells at the cage at row 4, column 6 can be 2, 3, 7, which means the cage cannot be 2, 5, 6, 9 or 2, 5, 7, 8 or 3, 4, 6, 9 or whatever. Removing 5, 6 as possibilities from the cells in the cage. I guess that's news to me. If you take that logical leap, though, then that is going to let you solve it. But yeah, I want to just highlight this. The hidden rule said once 3 is placed in row 5, column 9, 9 can be placed in box 5, which would be this box, right? They would say 9 can be placed here. I can't place 9 here. Still, there's 3 possible places where 9 can be. This hint to me seems completely out of place and just doesn't line up with what the smart hint system is telling me as far as how to solve things or what I'm trying to do on my own. Let's see. If this is 8, then this would be 9, and then you have a 1, 4, 8, 9 as a combination there. If this can no longer have a 9 in it or an 8 in it, then this is 3, 4, 6, 7. Should mean that this is 3. And one of these is going to be 6. And one of these is going to be 7. I mean, nope. One of them is going to be 4. And one of them is going to be 6. And when we figured out this was an 8, we could then eliminate that to a 1, which can eliminate that to an 8. Which a lot of these digits are just going to spiral around and solve the lingering pairs. But I think I am also still struggling here. Still hitting speed bumps. I guess 3 can only be here. Maybe that 3 would have eliminated that from being a 3, so maybe there was a point earlier on where that could have been a 3. And that's 3 is done now. Fives still seem like they're a mess. We haven't done anything with this in a long time. There is probably some criticism that could be said about individual puzzle design, and if an element of the individual puzzle is solved and then it doesn't really lead to any new action or discovery, and you instead just move on to a different digit. I guess 9 now can only be here, and so that would make that 9. That would make that 8. I guess that makes this 9 now. And that's all the 9's done, and I guess now we could probably just go around in circles with Sudoku to see the rest of these. But even here it still feels too much like a mess. If this combination here is 3, 4, 6, 7, then we know this isn't 4. We know this isn't 6. So we can do a little bit of cleanup on that. If 4 has to be here, and we need a 4 here, then that's got to be 4. That's got to be 1. That's got to be 5. And then that's got to be 7. That's got to be 8. Then you have a 5, 6 pair here. That's 7. That's 8. That's 1. That's 5. That makes this 6. And this 5. And this was 4. This is 1. 7. 8. And yeah, we may just solve the rest of this puzzle now with basic Sudoku. So 6, now 4. This 5. This 4, 6 still may play a problem, though. I guess not, though, because this 6, it makes that a 4. It makes that a 6. Makes that a 5. Make that a 7. Make that a 4. And if I'm looking at this correctly now, we just need to fill in the 651. These hints, I mean, what else can I say about them? This hint number 10 in particular, pretty awful, but also several hints before hint number 10, pretty awful. And this was supposed to be a fairly easy Sudoku puzzle, and either maybe my lack of skill, particularly around killer Sudoku, is being highlighted here, or the puzzle is just not really that easy. All this coloring in this case, I think, wasn't right. I don't think in this case that I made it more difficult by highlighting all the killer boxes, which is really just to say that the killer cages need to have the way they're depicted be improved significantly. They should really have like an effect when you hover over them where they pop up and highlight in some way, the other boxes potentially dimming instead. And so that's all the boxes and what the puzzle would have looked like without all the coloring, which whenever I do that, it just shows a wall of numbers to my eyes. It's not revealing anything for me. And that's it. 160 minutes and 11 seconds to do a 5-star puzzle. Now the good news here is that there is only now a 6-star puzzle and then a 7-star puzzle after that. But I think that's about all the good news we can take. There's 2 more episodes in this bundle, and then I saw that the domino sample exists, so I might as well just do that too. Next time will be a classic Sudoku, so if I have gained any skill whatsoever doing classic Sudoku solving, this should be relatively fast. I suspect it probably isn't going to be any faster. I suspect it's just a really difficult classic Sudoku that looks like it wouldn't be that difficult with all the starting numbers. It could very well be the case that when you see the pattern here, there are big sections that are being influenced by less numbers than you would hope for. Then we'll do arrow Sudoku after that. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.